Joining me tonight is Gafar Ellis, who's the CEO and co-founder of Apply 3D. Hi, Gafar.
Hi, Kalila. Pleasant good night. Pleasant good
Uh,
night to the audience as well. Good night, everyone.
Actually, you have been on the show once before, haven't
Good.
you?
One time. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I do
Night, Kalila.
remember. Tonight, we're
Yes.
talking about value investing, specifically in the creative industries. And it's very interesting to me that you chose this particular topic because the creative industries are one of those industries that kind of taboo and kind of risky to invest in. Even though there is a lot of opportunity, it's also seen as being high risk. But then again, high risk, high reward.
I
So tell
reward.
me why value investors should be looking at creative industries for investment.
Wonderful question. So one of the main things with the creative industry that has changed recently is the advent of AI to help expand the creative aspects of what people do and organizations are doing around the world. And I'm talking now just not at the individual level, but let's say at the level of companies that design and develop products and manufacture goods. Talking everybody from people who make regular things that we use, combs, toothbrushes, to people who make semiconductor chips. The availability of the and the capacity that this has provided the industry, it's going to cause a lot of problems. I'm going to be honest about that, but there's some key opportunities that are coming, and most of the true value opportunities that I see for the long term are within these companies that already exist, but also the newer companies, the companies that are transitioning from just moving from mobile phone designers and manufacturers to cars, and they're doing specific stuff for IoT, which is the Internet of Things, connecting your refrigerators to your stove, and there's just a whole lot that you can do. But let's use the space that we're on now, media creation, right? You have software that can allow you, even though my background is real, this is a living room, but you have software that can replace this entire setup with a nice studio space. You could look like you're in an Apple Inc. office if you want to. The capacity is there for so many of these projects, and really and truly, we should be looking at the companies that are allowing these things to be enabled. You can look into a company like Sora that uses AI to create an entire production, not just the production studio space, but the entire production for film,
But
right?
we'd more consider Sora an AI tech company than creative industries.
Well, that's funny that you mentioned that, because the creative part of it is the capacity to generate the content. It doesn't really matter where it's coming from. That man downtown producing slippers and then can move that into a software and say to it, look, I want to design this specific thing, and I want you to create a three-dimensional version of it, and then he makes it. It's creative, and the industries behind that, the film, the TV, production aspect of things, it's all there, even for staging and lighting setup. We're using AI to create the entire production before the show even happens. We had the privilege of a recording artist coming here recently, Chris Brown, having his entire show done in Jamaica. And of course, there's a mixed team that had to do the production. Now you can literally use AI to simulate that entire aspect without needing any heavy software per se to make it all possible. Trust me, it's there, and it's coming, Kalila, at speed. At speed.
So give me some other examples of companies that you're thinking of in the creative industries that would make good value
All right.
investment.
So there are a few design companies here, and a few founders that have companies here locally that are going to be benefiting massively from the use of AI in terms of how they consult with their clients, and they're listed on the stock exchange, and also how they allow themselves to create solutions for those clients. A lot of AI production is going into the back end of that stuff, and these are, as I said, this is local and internationally. It's coming at a rate where, if you remember when Chat GPT came out, Kalila, it was less than 2 years ago, and the rate of change that is happening in this space with all of these softwares. There are companies here in the Caribbean that are using these tools, creative companies, to say, well, I used to have to figure out a particular go-to-market strategy. I have to make the product and deliver it. No, because the entire chain, the entire delivery chain can be digitized, and the creation is almost fully digitized. I can generate ideas so quickly and take it to market that these companies that we're looking at are small businesses now that are listed on the junior stock exchange that are doing creative stuff. For value investors, you want to hold those assets for the long term, because their production, the amount of volume that you're able to produce, will be massive.
Again, mostly in the tech space, but okay, I get your point. But let's just take it a step back. What is value investing?
All right, so value investing is you're looking to hold volume or value in companies or assets for the long term. And being able to do that sort of thing, you have to be able to see an asset, look at the future trajectory of this particular company or commodity, and say to yourself, my core intention is to hold a certain amount of the overall stock in this particular thing over the long term to be able to make my gains that I want from it.
And so Warren Buffett, for example, is a very famous
Value
value
investment.
investor. So
Yes.
what is the benefit of that type of investing versus other types of investing?
Well, the key value to being a value investor, one, you're using time as your master. So the aim is over time you want something that's moving from here upward to the right over time. In between there's a lot of this, right? But the reason why you're looking for things that have long-term value, it must be able to provide a benefit to an audience over that duration of time and will always be in demand. So that's something that's very valuable, something that will always be in demand, something that will consistently be demanded over that duration of time. And I just happen to want to be a value investor to hold on to that asset for that duration. Warren
Mm.
Buffett is one of those people who will invest in something through Berkshire Hathaway, which is his corporation. For those of you guys who are aware or don't know, and what he'll do is he'll be looking for things that it could be a little lady who, she came over into America and she started a furniture manufacturing company that happens to have this exceptional customer experience for everybody that she sells to. She was looking to sell that business. Well, he supported that lady. He took it on under Berkshire, but that company still exists to this day. Sells furniture to this day. Something that most people may not think is highly competitive, but the value that that company has brought in, profound. Let's use another company that's quite familiar, Coca-Cola. Warren Buffett earns every time a bottle of Coca-Cola gets sold to this day, right? The U.S. electric grid is one of the largest investors in that industry, and that's something that has high value, high demand, consistently, even when we don't think of it. So those are the things that value investors look for, the things that hold on to those high demand needs over time, and will bring you gains.
So let's look back at, so tying this back into your main
Yes.
point about, value investing in the creative industries, looking at those industries that have long-term growth potential that you're going to hold for the long term. What are the key factors that we need to be looking at? I imagine that strong intellectual property must be one.
Yes. Yes. Intellectual property, digital rights management. Um, let me just step outside of tech for a bit, but like order fulfillment in e-commerce, there is a lot of value there. We have people now figuring out that I watched one of your episodes where there's a YouTuber who was expressing to people that it's very possible to just order from Amazon and have that sort of stuff in Jamaica. Well, for a lot of the smaller shipping companies that are here, the Denny shipping and just calling names, not because I'm affiliated, there's no affiliation, but I've used services like these that is a viable company that has been offering very good value to Jamaica. They have hubs in New York and other states in America, and they're expanding their business. Now, if you're looking at this as a value investor, you say to yourself, okay, how many of these companies are holding the foundation of this industry? And which ones, as you mentioned, key factors, which ones have been doing this the most consistently, being able to stay profitable, and is looking to expand your customer base to offer even more value in terms of service. As an investor, look into those industries because they're going to keep growing. We're not going to lose our demand for consumer goods anytime now. And as the two previous gentlemen, were sharing, the industry within the macroeconomic scene is growing. There's money. We're looking like we're generating money now at a good growth rate. And what do people do with money when they have it? We spend it, we travel, we expand the mind, and we buy things. And those industries are keen in terms of offering value. And there's a lot of opportunities there for the long term.
Orville says that he thinks you're alluding to one-on-one. Were you?
Uh, Not necessarily one-on-one, no, but just in general. I'm trying not to, I'm not trying to pick anybody specifically, but just saying as a long term, in terms of value investing, as the question was posed, Orville, it's just looking for those opportunities that offer long-term value. That's what my answer is based around, not necessarily one-on-one.
Roswell says, how well do we understand a company, its industry, that is important? That's an important factor to keep when looking to buy volume in an industry.
Yeah. Yeah, you could look at it like that. For example, in the last time I was on the show, Kalila, we spoke about crypto, right? And we had a discussion around Bitcoin and stuff like that. But one of the key things to look forward to in that industry is how much value do you want to create? As you said, interestingly, separating a company from the industry. A company in the cryptocurrency space would be something like Coinbase or Kraken, one of those cryptocurrency platforms. And then you have the Bitcoin itself, which is an entire asset class on its own. It's literally the major stakeholder in the industry. And you could buy Bitcoin independently, but you could also buy value in Coinbase and hold that. If you believe Coinbase is going to remain as one of the prominent platforms in cryptocurrency that allow people to buy, sell, swap, and stake and store. So you're able to take value on both sides. But yes, he's correct. There is some differences between just the company and the industry itself.
So are there any local companies right now in Jamaica that would fit your criteria?
No. And I say that strong no, not because there aren't any companies, but for what I do know and what I'm looking to do, what our biggest issue that we still have is, our international relations, like, order clearances for financial payments and certain restrictions in how much money is moved from point A to point B, international clearance now. We don't have the policy, nor have we even recognized crypto as a proper industry as yet. It doesn't mean people aren't doing it, but it's not formidable yet. So they're creative people trying to build solutions. Yes. Do I see the greater ones coming out of Jamaica right now? Not yet, right? But there are some there. We've had BITT.com, Bit, a couple of years ago when I was at Startup Jamaica. There's a company called Bit, and they allowed you to do transactions with Bitcoin and clearances locally in the Caribbean and everything. And I really love that business. But I've heard that they've shifted mostly to consulting now than offering direct end user consumer solutions. So I don't see a company in Jamaica yet, and I'm saying yet because I know they're coming. I don't see a company yet in Jamaica that's offering certain stuff in the cryptocurrency industry that are favorable to what people like myself and others practice on a daily.
Well, I see some names being called in the chat, but none of these are listed companies. So I see Sean saying companies like GiftMe, with its unique selling point, is an example of that type of investing.
Wonderful company, by the way. Wonderful company.
Let me see who else. I saw somebody else. Sean again says Amber Group. We had Amber on as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They do a lot in tech. Both
yes, they do a lot in
tech companies, really.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Once you start looking at value investing in these spaces, you're going to look at the companies that are able to use most of the technologies that are out there to add some value. The key of it is you want to have a competitive advantage, and the genuine way to do that, you have to have a product to sell. You need distribution and sales, right? And if you can achieve those three things in any industry, then you have a viable business. And the other criteria is it must be listed. GiftMe is one of those companies that the more I learn of the company, the more that I have the privilege of meeting the founder, one of the founders, and it's a beautiful company. But I also asked the founder then, who built the first cryptocurrency wallet out of the Caribbean, that I can recall him saying, that right now, no, he can't prioritize that given what the company is trying to do, which is why I said right now I don't see a company that is listed offering those type of solutions yet, because the people who have the capacity to do it aren't delivering it. That's just it.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us, Gafar. Great points.
Thank you too, Kalila. Thank you very much.